everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick, the Bishop of the Burn, and with me, as always,
Gator.
And we are coming to you from the world-famous St. Louis landmark Hill Cigar Company. We're all set up in our winter studio out in the front porch with the heater.
It's very nice.
It is very nice.
We made some new friends tonight.
Did we?
Yes. Let me give a quick shout out here because I actually was industrious and got some names. So a little quick shout out to our new listeners, Tanner McClinton, James Matson, and Corwin Nozeri. I'm hoping I pronounced that right, Corwin. I hope I did not butcher that for you. These guys are all in the PA program over at SLU, and they were here. Actually, it was their first time at the beautiful downtown St. Louis Hill Cigar Company.
Well, if they're going to find a cigar lounge in St. Louis to hit up, by God, the Hill Cigar Company.
Well, and what kind of bonus could they get? Not only did they come in and get some good, fine quality smokes here at the Hill Cigar Company, they got to meet Nick and Gator.
It's true. It's true.
It's a bonus.
It is. So tonight, we are smoking the RoMa Craft Neanderthal. So let me give you a little background on this little guy. We are smoking the HN size, which is a 5x58. This cigar features a Mexican San Honduras Maduro wrapper with a USA Connecticut broadleaf binder and a mix of Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and USA Pennsylvania tobaccos in the filler.
Little USA tobacco mixed in.
Little USA tobacco mixed
USA.
So there we go. So we have the RoMa Craft Neanderthal. Now,
America.
The interesting thing with this one...
I like how you're just ignoring all my ignorance.
I'm used to it by now.
Okay.
So the interesting thing with this one is if you look at it, it has a flat cap.
Ooh.
It has a completely flat cap.
Mine happens to still be in the cellophane. Let me get that out.
Of course it does. Why wouldn't it be out of the cellophane by now? I mean, it's not like you didn't have an hour or better to do that. But no, you're going to just
okay, there we go.
To do that.
Now, Nick is mad at me tonight because I was running late in his mind. In my mind, I was on time. I was working today. I worked. I don't work a lot.
We'll get to that in a minute. Let's get back to the cigar.
I worked today.
Before I forget.
Did I mention I worked today?
So it has a flat cap, which is kind of a nod.
That is really cool.
Which is a nod to the Neanderthal that is
That's
named after.
funny.
Yes.
Now, if you had not mentioned that to me, I would have puffed on this thing for an hour and a half wondering why it was such a hard draw.
Yeah, that's true. The one thing I will note is because of the flat cap, you have to be careful with the cut because you don't want to take too much off because there is not nearly as much there to take off.
So you need to be a moil.
You gotta be
just a little off the tip.
Ginger with it. So it is now time to cut the cigar. And Jeff, once again, does not have a cutter. Because why would he?
Okay, let me give you folks the play-by-play of what's going on here. So it's dark out at the front of the Hill Cigar Company.
He could help me.
I could, but I'm not going to.
Not going to.
So Nick has actually had to tuck his phone up under his chin with his light on his iPhone so he can see to cut his cigar.
Yeah, because I didn't want to take too much
I, on the other
off.
hand, am going in blind.
No, I'm sharing my light with you.
Oh, that's sweet.
Just like I'm sharing my cutter.
You're sweet.
Because heaven forbid you have your own.
Oh, perfect. Look at that.
There you go.
Hey, seriously, look at that.
Razor thin.
Perfection right there, buddy.
Precision. Did you bring a torch?
No.
You're literally at a cigar shop. You can walk inside right now and buy one.
I could.
But you're not going to.
But I encourage everyone else to buy a nice torch from the Hill Cigar Company. I have like 18 of them. I just always forget to bring them.
You forget
part of it's
to have them at the house. I don't know how that happens.
Part of it is the shtick to annoy you, and it works.
So, folks, given the fact that
I'm doing a cold draw,
I warned you about taking off too much, I might have done exactly that because I am getting a little wrapper splittage at
perfect.
The end.
Look at that. A thing of beauty. You want to trade? Here,
no,
I'll give you mine.
No, we won't trade. It's gross. No.
So,
this is what happens when I try to cut my cigar like that with my light tucked under my chin because heaven forbid somebody turn on the light on his iPhone and help me.
I'm only on 87%. I don't want to risk it running out.
Anyway.
So, I'm doing a cold draw.
Yeah.
Cantaloupe and chiclets.
You're an idiot. Give me my torch one more time.
There you go.
You're an idiot. There is no cantaloupe and chiclets in this thing.
You didn't do a cold draw. You don't know.
I know there's no cantaloupe and chiclets in this thing.
Not in it. Just
come on.
Hints.
There's no hints of that either.
I love your torch. Free butane for me.
Mm-hmm.
God, this is a pretty cigar.
It is. It's a real kind of rugged looking cigar, but it's got that really neat looking, very simple band to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a dual.
Very understated.
It is understated, but it's complex because if you look at it, not that we can look at it out here because it's dark, but
Ooh.
if you look at it in the light, not only does it have the name of the cigar on the band, but it's kind of like it's the same color. That the letters are the same color as the band. They're just kind of slightly raised. So you got to actually really concentrate to read
They
it.
should have done it in like cave paintings.
They have cave paintings on there. That's the other thing I was going to tell you.
Perfect.
Is that there are cave paintings on the band.
I have a good idea of who we can get to decipher those for us.
Me too. We'll have to ask our mutual friend to talk to her husband. So anyway, but yeah. So I've been wanting to do the RoMa Craft on the show for a while because I've had a fair number of RoMa Craft cigars. I really like the Neanderthal. It's a real strong, bold cigar, and it's one of those ones that I've been very anxious to get to.
Okay, so again, I'm smoking free tonight because you bought these. At some point, I'm going to have to pay you back.
You're right.
I am helping you with the podcast, so it's a trade-off.
Really, because I set up all the equipment, I edit the whole thing, I upload it, I manage all the social.
Okay, so I do the Facebook.
Okay, you changed the cover photo.
Hold on.
All the rest of that content is fed by me through my Instagram.
Let's not, blame and all that.
I'm just saying.
I just want to point out, while you were setting up the equipment, our friend Tony had brought in beans and burnt tips, and I was eating.
Oh, that's awesome to hear too.
Because that was really nice, Tony. By the way, if you're listening,
yes.
That was awesome.
That's the cool thing about the Hill, and it's the cool thing probably about many other cigar lounges, is that it is kind of a family atmosphere. And so these guys, they'll bring in food from all sorts of different restaurants. They'll bring in some that they can eat, obviously, but they bring enough for everybody else to
And when they
enjoy
have
as well.
events, they always have a guy, you know his name.
Oh, Charlie.
Charlie is always on staff cooking at all their events.
Charlie makes some mean food. Yes,
Yeah, he does.
He makes some good food. So
Okay, so seriously.
Events at the Hill, you get fed really, really well.
Yeah, you do. They take good care of you.
Yeah.
And they have good prices on their sticks. Speaking of that, what's the price point on this, out of curiosity?
This cigar kind of ranges between $10 and $12, depending upon where you're buying it at. I think it was maybe like just shy of $11 here.
Okay.
So.
And the reason I say that is, and I know I've talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast, I tend to be a cheaper smoker than Nick.
And this is not a cigar I would buy because it's so dark.
No. No, actually, I wasn't going to say that. This is a well-constructed cigar. It is a little bit darker, but this one would not scare me off. The price point might normally scare me off. I actually think, from the short time I've had this, and I'll finish up and tell you for sure, but I think this actually may be number 5 in my top 5.
Oh, dang.
I've been looking.
We've been looking. I'll tell you, like I said, I really like the RoMa Craft. They've got the Neanderthal. They've got the Cro-Magnon. They have a couple of Intemperance, the Aquitaine. And
am I way off here?
I really like the Neanderthal.
I'm getting cocoa.
You're not way off on the cocoa. You're not way off on the cocoa.
I was joking about, obviously,
you get some cocoa,
mushmelon, and
a little spice, and whatnot.
I'm not hitting spice.
It's not heavy spice. Yeah. It's not heavy pepper, heavy spice. And it's not so much necessarily like,
chocolate.
Oh my gosh, it's spicy. But yeah, chocolate, the cocoa is.
Yeah, I'm getting
there.
the chocolate flavor. I like it.
So,
and this isn't flavored.
Which is something to definitely take note of.
That's
especially
impressive.
All the politicians in these various states that are passing laws banning flavored tobacco. Like, for example, I was talking with Larry here at the Hill earlier tonight, and he was explaining to me about the law that is being proposed in Illinois. And under that law, if you have a cigar and let's say somebody says, oh, I get hints of cocoa or hints of coffee or something like that off of it, under that law, that is now a flavored cigar.
Ugh.
So it's not necessarily infused as much as I get this flavor off of it.
So it has to be
so theoretically,
just a bland stick of nothing.
It could ban pretty much everything because everybody has a palate that gets something different.
Why are we still living in Illinois?
I question that myself a lot of days.
Ugh.
But yet apparently it doesn't impact menthol.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder why.
Maybe the taxes they're making off the cigarettes?
Precisely.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So follow the money, folks. especially in Illinois, follow it right down the toilet.
Now, you'll get some lawsuits because, like, for example, RoMa Craft can prove with their blending and everything else, they can prove what's in this cigar. So they can say there is no chocolate, there is no cocoa, there is no infusion of any sort of cocoa flavor or anything like that. It is pure tobacco, and that natural tobacco, when it hits the tongue and hits the palate, creates this flavor that these people may or may not get, depending upon their palate.
I'm getting it, and I like it.
Yeah, so it's a very pleasant cigar. I like this cigar a lot.
So, Nick, we've lit up. We've gotten started with our cigars. But you have a very, very interesting interview, considering we're talking about
I would say,
politics.
Considering we're talking about politics and the government coming into all of our lives involving cigars and everything, I spent some time this week talking with Frank Herrera of H New Media Law. And Frank is one of the preeminent experts, if not the expert, as it pertains to premium cigars. He represents a whole lot of different brands, and he was kind enough to give us some time this week to just kind of explain to us what the FDA is doing and how it impacts the companies, and in turn, how that impacts all of us, the consumers.
Beautiful. I think it's time to go into it.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and jump into the interview. This is me with Frank Herrera.
We'll be back right after this.
We are joined by Frank Herrera of H New Media Law. And Frank, you specialize in premium cigars and dealing with the FDA. Is this correct?
Yeah, sure is.
So I asked you if you would be willing to talk with us a little bit because everybody hears about how FDA regulations and everything are impacting the cigar industry, and we hear terms like substantial equivalence and all this kind of stuff thrown around. But I'll be honest, I was sitting at the lounge last night and I was talking to a couple people about how I was going to be doing this today, and they were really happy because, quite frankly, we hear all this stuff, but nobody really understands it. So I guess, can you kind of just like give us the Reader's Digest, like the 101? What do we need? What does the average cigar smoker need to know about what the FDA is doing and kind of how it impacts the premium cigar industry and the brands that we all know and love?
Sure. So, well, where do I start? Well, going back to 2009, there's something called the Tobacco Control Act, and the first part of that was really targeted towards the cigarette industry.
Okay.
And roll your own. And then in 2016, the FDA, who has authority over regulating and the regulations over that act, decided to include cigars as well as what they call ENDS, E-N-D-S, electronic nicotine delivery systems, basically vapes, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And a couple of other products like pipes. So that's when this all kind of got really hot and heavy for the cigar industry, right, 2016. So there's been litigation, there's been deadlines that have moved, but long story short, unfortunately for the industry, the regulations are not going away. Premium cigars will not be exempted, as some people think, and they have to deal with these regulations that were really designed for to curb youth initiation and some other health risks that, quite frankly, really aren't at issue for the premium cigar industry. So because we have tobacco in our products, obviously, we're part of this regulation, but we're not really part of the spirit of why this regulation came about. So, the premium industry is forced to deal with it.
So what kind of things are the brands being forced to do? What are the companies kind of being forced to adhere to under this regulation?
Sure. So some of the minor things, well, any kind of regulation in the premium cigar industry is substantial because this is a age-old industry that for hundreds of years was essentially not regulated, definitely not the federal level, and at state levels kind of minimal. But some of the easier things, the not so significant things, are product listing, that is telling the FDA what products you offer, providing the FDA with ingredients. And the premium cigar industry likes to say, well, our ingredients are, tobacco and water and some glue. But really, sometimes there's a little more to that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a little more detailed. Submitting things called warning plans which are not in effect yet. The warnings on the boxes themselves have been stayed pending appeal. But essentially, manufacturers were forced to provide a warning plan to the FDA, which essentially outlines their understanding of the law and how they will comply with that part of switching out the labels, a different type of warning notices. Some of the scary parts are, the biggest and most topical topic at the moment is a concept known as substantial equivalence. Mm-hmm. And substantial equivalence is essentially one of four what they call pathways. And a pathway is it's a bucket, if you will. So say you're a brand manufacturer and you have 100 SKUs in your product portfolio. And some of those SKUs you made prior to 2007, some of them you made between 2007 and 2016, and others you are making but have not yet sold post 2016. Well, each of those products, depending on when they were first commercially marketed, would have to go through some type of pathway with the FDA. And the best, cheapest, fastest, easiest is a concept called grandfathered products. And these are products that are demonstrated to be commercially marketed in the U.S. prior to February of 2007. And luckily for the premium cigar industry, there are a lot of those products. So a good part of the industry is going to choose the grandfathered pathway. It's voluntary to actually go to the FDA and say, please determine these as grandfathered, or you can just keep selling them. And if the FDA knocks on your door, then you'll have to demonstrate why they're grandfathered. And the important thing of that is that you don't have to go through the expensive and time-consuming process of substantial equivalence, or even the very expensive and crazy process called PMTA, which is a new tobacco product application.
Okay.
So too much information? Not enough information?
No, this is great. So I know I've heard about how, these companies have to essentially, regarding substantial equivalence, they have to talk about like their blends and basically prove that their blends are the same blends as they were. Can you explain that a little bit? I know I'm shanking this question, but we're trying to wrap our head around it.
Well, that's fine because we've been doing this 3 to 4 years now, day in, day out. And we just attended meetings in D.C. at the FDA and also at the Drug Law Institute. And even very sophisticated in-house counsel and regulatory specialists with R.J. Reynolds and ITG Imperial, Altria, they're still struggling with what is it precisely that the FDA wants, because the FDA has regulations and guidelines, but it really seems kind of subjective to a certain degree as to, the balancing of the test. And test is, the protection of the public health, essentially, right? There's this test.
Yeah.
So is it appropriate for the public health? So don't worry that you don't know what's going on, because most people who are doing this day to day are still trying to figure out precisely, how to abide by these regulations. The regulations are broad. They are somewhat ill-conceived for the cigar industry. They were initially designed for cigarettes in mind. So a lot of the regulations don't squarely fit with the reality of the premium cigar industry. So to answer your question, one of the pathways is grandfather, which is great. You have a grandfather product, keep selling it, comply with other FDA regulations. You'll be fine. You won't have to spend lots and lots of money to keep the product on the market. If you can't or don't have a grandfathered product, say you're a boutique that came on the market post-2007, then you would have to put your product through a process called substantial equivalence. And essentially, you would have to file something by May 2020, which is the current deadline. It might be extended by appeal, but we're not sure yet.
Okay.
And you would have to submit quite a bit of information about your product, the characteristics of it, right? The product packaging, the size, all these other criteria. And you'll have to compare it, provide a comparison to a grandfathered product, also known as a predicate product. And essentially what you're telling the FDA, say, hey, I have this product that's post-2007, but it does not present a new question of public health. Basically, it's the same or substantially equivalent, as the phrase says, to a product that was grandfathered or is grandfathered. So what is that, right? So what does that mean? So if you have a grandfathered 5x50 Nicaraguan Puro, box of 20, cello, wood box, and now it's grandfathered, and now your product is essentially the same, but maybe you tweaked the blends, maybe did a couple of things, quantity is the same, then there's a very good likelihood that your application to the FDA, that it's substantially equivalent, will be granted, what's called a marketing order. It will be approved as to remain in the market.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to compare a grandfathered flavored cigar to a non-flavored cigar, or vice versa, and the quantity is different, and the ring gauge is different, and so all these different characteristics, then I think the likelihood that the FDA will agree will be really small, right? They'll say, no, these aren't the same. Come closer. Show us that there's no new risk on the public health. The scariest part, if I just kind of belabor this for a second, is this concept called PMTA, and primarily, I think it would be almost impossible for a premium cigar industry to even choose to go down that pathway because it's ridiculously expensive and complicated. The first PMTA ever granted was earlier this year, and that was to Philip Morris, a product called IQOS, IQOS, and that's a newfangled type of vaping product. They call it heat, not burn.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Representatives of that company were at this conference we went to, and they were clear to tell you that it was millions, tens of millions of dollars to shepherd that process, because there's clinical studies, there's all this scientific and engineering information has to go into that. That's not necessary, that pathway, for cigars, because cigars are much more simplistic, right?
Yeah.
So the big scary thing for a consumer, not scary, but one thing that consumers will see in mid next year, if this date doesn't change, is they might see some of their favorite products taken off the market. Usually not a bigger company, but maybe some smaller boutiques. They might choose not to take their product through substantial equivalence, in which case, if they miss that deadline, then their products will be illegal to sell in the marketplace. So you might see some products removed by retailers or manufacturers.
Wow. So then in terms of like what the consumer can do to express their opinion, I mean, what would you recommend? Is it a reach out to your congressman kind of situation? Is it contact the FDA or?
It's over. It's over.
Oh, it's over. We're past that point then.
You can hoot and holler and cuss at the FDA and talk about how unfair it is and unconstitutional and all that BS that I read on the blogs. No one has been a bigger advocate for expressing your discontent with the FDA in this process than I have over the years. But it's all over but the crying.
Wow.
It's happening. It's happened. A lot of the deadlines have passed. It's not going away. The politicians, while they might be cigar friendly, have a hard time going back to the constituents and telling them that they're pro cigars, any tobacco, because primarily, really, the villain is the vape industry, and especially of recent kind of news, these kids getting pulmonary issues with the vapes that have THC.
Yeah.
It's every time, politicians do not want to touch this. That issue, youth initiation, all these issues, politically, nobody wants to touch. Although secretly they might smoke cigars themselves or enjoy them or feel it's unfair, nobody's going to stick their neck out and say, exempt this or take it easy on these guys.
Yeah.
With that in mind, our hope and our prayer and our vision is that once we have filed many of these substantial equivalence applications, we will be able to tell our story in that forum such that the FDA will not be such hard asses in refusing substantial equivalence request, right?
Yeah.
They'll say, okay, we get it. Cigar is a cigar. Yeah, it's not, there's no youth initiation. These things aren't killing people. There's 90-year-old guys that smoke cigars since they're 13. We get it. Let's let the industry kind of cruise through this process. But they still have a statutory duty to go through that process.
Gotcha. Well, and that's the whole frustrating thing from our perspective with lumping cigars in with everything is, I mean, you pointed out vapes, and I know historically cigarettes and everything have been accused of, targeting children or younger smokers with their advertising. The premium cigar industry doesn't do that. I mean, we might pick up an 18-year-old smoker every once in a while, but by and large, it seems like it's more the late 20s, early 30 kind of crowd that starts to get into it.
Yeah, and that's not in dispute. I mean, I think there's plenty of publicly available information that is out there that underage kids simply don't want to spend an hour and a half and spend 10, 12, $15 on a premium cigar. It's just not cool. It's not for them. It's just, there's no evidence that it's a tool of youth initiation. However, and we need to be honest with ourselves as an industry, what happens in studies, these scientific studies where they do polls and surveys of high school kids, is that the questions are so broad when they use the word cigars that it includes these little cigarillos and things, Swisher Sweets and things like that, which are not premium cigars.
Backwoods kind of thing.
In there. Exactly. So when they ask a kid that question, anonymously or however, the kid will say, yeah, cigars. But they don't differentiate. And we're talking about premium cigars and certain kind of things. So some of these studies will group us, the premium cigar industry, with some of these other quote-unquote cigarillos or backwoods or what have you. So when you do a search of these scientific journals or these surveys and use the word cigars, you'll see some of that. So they use that against us. They say, well, these are gateway, if you will. And then later kids get hooked on nicotine, and they use the word addiction a lot. Listen, I've been smoking cigars since I was 16 years old, off and on. I'm 49 years old, and I am absolutely positively not addicted to cigars. I can go months without smoking a cigar. I smoke more than that, but it's just not something that has the same kind of use patterns as other tobacco products or other chemicals like your ends products, which God knows what goes into those concoctions.
Yeah. Well, and I live in Illinois, and we recently had a bill proposed that's flying through video session right now in Springfield to ban flavored tobacco. And
yeah, that's happened in a couple of states, and a couple of states have already overturned those bans as well.
Oh, okay.
So that's another thing. The question of flavored tobacco products is definitely on the horizon in the future of regulation. And we had some experts on, we had some consultants and professors, people that study kind of tobacco at this conference recently. And they went on and on and on about flavors and why it's initiation. And again, that's just not the premium cigar industry. And even so, there is a way to regulate that. What is damaging is the rise of the ends products, the vape products in the past 7-8 years, which were completely the Wild West. People were concocting this stuff in their basement or shipping containers from China with absolutely no verification of the contents of this stuff. But most cigar manufacturers, we call them non-premium flavored, if you like. They get their flavors from flavor houses that have been in the United States or otherwise, and have food grade quality flavors. The point is those are safer in my opinion, and there's been some vetting, if you will, of those things. Whereas these Chinese flavors and mixings are completely grab bag.
Yeah. So going back real quick, just for a second, I had a thought. So a lot of retailers have house blend cigars, and in some cases they get those house blend cigars from larger manufacturers that maybe relabel something or whatever. But I do know at least a handful where they've got guys in shop actually rolling their own cigars and making the house blend cigars. How does all this impact those retailers that are essentially making their own product?
So, I'll presume by your example that they're not just doing it for like a show, that they have the bunch thing and just put the wrapper and they sell 5 a week, but they actually have like a real manufacturing process, right?
Yeah, they've got it's a guy with a table and he makes it and everything, but then like he's got the display case and you can go in and buy either 1 or 5 for so much or whatever. And, they've got their cigars for sale.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. One is, and a lot of retailers are not going to want to hear this, but this is the gospel. One is, if you were buying raw materials from someone, and you're assembling the raw materials into a cigar at your facility, you have a couple things going on. Forget about the FDA for a moment. But number one, they're technically a manufacturer under the TTB rules. Okay, that's the federal agency that collects taxes on cigars that come in. If the cigar comes in from the Dominican Republic, it's taxed. It's a large cigar, it's taxed at 40.2 cents or 0.4026 something or other, up to a certain amount. So you got to pay your import duty on that, right?
Okay.
So if you're manufacturing at your store and you're selling those, one, you can't do it really without your TTB manufacturing license. And two, if you do have that license, you have to report the number of cigars you're manufacturing and pay tax on it. Secondly, if you were actually doing it from an FDA perspective, you are then considered a domestic manufacturer. And if you are a domestic manufacturer, then you have to register as such with the FDA, and you have reporting requirements and are subject to inspections by the FDA. They'll come in and take a look at what you're doing and your facility and all that. And now your response is, hey, it's only a couple cigars, whatever. Under these guidelines, the FDA will say, you're making cigars. You're technically a manufacturer. So
Okay.
we're not sure to what extent the FDA will enforce those rules against these retailers. Right now, they got their hands busy with all kinds of other things, just trying to get the basics done. But there'll come a time where they will regularly inspect and issue warning letters if you're not in compliance with the law.
Okay. Well, that's good for some of our retailer friends to take note of. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, then I guess my last and final thing, and it's more of a little bit of a speculation kind of thing. Obviously, with the news that Nat Sherman, the Nat Sherman brand, I guess, is kind of at least for sale or being bandied around. I guess going back to what you were talking about with the predicate blends, I guess that's what makes Nat Sherman kind of possibly appealing for some other companies and whatnot to look at, is the fact that they have a portfolio of grandfathered products, correct?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't represent Nat Sherman. So I get this question a lot. What's the value of my grandfather products? We represent big companies, we represent middle-sized companies. We represent a lot of little mom and pops, one little viejito in Cayocho, and he and his wife have been rolling, for years. So I see it from a lot of perspectives. And people say, well, what's the value of a grandfather portfolio? And the truth is, grandfather products are not that uncommon. People have been making cigars for a long time. What's uncommon is the proof of that grandfather, right? The commercial marketing of it, the materials used, when were they, how were they made, that type of thing. So I think with a company like Nat Sherman, and I don't think they've ever run their own factory, but I think they've contracted with some factories to make cigars. I think their access to that data, obviously they have it. Now the question is, are their grandfather products unique? Are they unicorns in some sense? Are they, shapes and sizes that are rare in the grandfathered world, if you will? Say there's 1,000, just say a number, there's plenty more grandfather products out there. Do you have that one product that's grandfathered? Do you have a flavored product that nobody ever had before? Then you have some value. But if you just have, a portfolio of Robustos that are Nicaraguan Puros and Dominican Puros, who cares? Everybody has that.
I see.
So
okay.
I think people are starting to understand that now. It's like, okay, that you have a grandfather is nice, but who cares? There's however many factories they are. I could go at any one of those factories and tell them to make me a rebranded grandfather product. And as long as I have good evidence of that grandfather product, I can call it whatever I want. If it was once called 123, I want to call it XYZ. I can, presuming that that it's the precise same product, just rebranded.
I see. So, okay. So it's not just the fact that it's a predicate blend, but it's kind of what's the unique factor to it too that adds to whatever value.
Absolutely.
I see.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Sir, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. We've been speaking with Frank Herrera about the law relating to the FDA and how it relates to the premium cigar industry. Thank you very much.
You got it, man. Anytime.
Hey,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
Nick, very, very informative. That's interesting stuff.
I mean, it's spooky stuff when you really stop and think about it. When you stop and think about what our government is doing in such an overarching, broad manner and wrapping premium cigars in with everything else, it's spooky to think about. I mean, we can argue all day long the differences between cigars and cigarettes, cigars and vapes, and everything else, but at the end of the day, they just see tobacco and specifically nicotine, and they just go for it.
Well, in addition, they see dollar signs.
Well, yeah, this is true, but I mean, they're banning stuff, which theoretically takes out of their pocket in terms of tax revenue.
If they wanted rid of cigarettes, they'd be gone. They want the cigarette taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're just going to, ban, I don't know.
They're going to box us into a corner is what they're going to do.
Yeah. So, which if they really want to get rid of nicotine, if that's such an evil chemical, when are they going to start banning eggplants, tomatoes, peppers, things of that nature?
Truth.
Did
you see that?
What'd you do?
I had a smoke ring.
Oh, no, I missed it. I missed it. I'm sorry.
That's disappointing.
I'm sorry.
So, Nick, let's go ahead and throw out our sponsor. And by the way, we would love to have more sponsors if any cigar companies are listening.
It's true.
You can jump on in.
The audience is growing every single episode.
The water is warm.
Yep. And prices are low, low, low right now because we're desperate. So
yes, we are.
We have partnered with mymonthlycigars.com, and they are a subscription cigar service where you can order a monthly box that will be delivered to your home featuring either 2 cigars for $20, 4 cigars for $30, or 8 cigars for $50. And within the 8 cigar box, you get 2 of each of the cigars that's in the 4 cigar box. So I like to say that it's good for you and a friend to split.
So what? You want me to say they should hoard them?
Well, you typically always do.
I know, that's why I waited.
Anyway, so, God, he just throws me off every single time.
I revel in your pain.
So it's a good way to try different cigars that you wouldn't normally try. And they come, and you get to try them. And then the beauty of it is you then can go to your brick-and-mortar store because we support and love the brick-and-mortar stores. I mean, hell, there's a brick-and-mortar store that's housing us for the winter and allowing us to do our ignorance on their front porch, for God's sakes.
Amen.
So you can come to places like the Hill Cigar Company and tell them, hey, I tried this one cigar. I loved it. I want you guys to get more in your humidor. And then they can order a box, and you can enjoy the cigar you like. And then they also don't have the risk of ordering a box and you coming in and saying, oh, I wanted to try that. Oh, I did try it, and it sucked. And now you're stuck with 19 more of them.
Yeah. And, let's be honest. And I've said this before, but if you like the cigar, other people at the store are going to like the cigar. So you're probably, I gave them a recommendation tonight. I've been talking about this for a while.
You did.
But the 1974 Casada is in my top 5 cigars. They don't carry it currently at the Hill, but we've requested it.
Exactly. And so that's the beauty of it. So when you go to mymonthlycigars.com and you sign up for the service, make sure you put in that offer code PULPIT, PULPIT, in checkout.
Amen.
And that'll get you either a discount on your shipping on your first order or a discount in their store because they do offer a few other items within their store.
I think you can use that twice, one for each, if I'm not mistaken.
Quite possibly.
Yep, I believe so.
Anyway, so yeah.
If you can't, blame Nick.
I didn't do it.
I heard you.
Okay. But also, if you sign up for the 4 cigar box, that's going to be kind of our care package in a roundabout way, and we're going to be smoking those on the show. So,
if not all 4, a good portion per month. Yeah.
So you can sign up for the cigars, the 4 cigar box, and smoke along with us.
I'm not going to lie, dude. I like this cigar.
You're burning through it a lot quicker than I am. I'll say that.
This is a good stick.
Yeah.
You've had this before. I have not.
I have indeed had this before, and I like them a lot.
Yeah.
RoMa Craft.
Good cigar.
I'll tell you, RoMa Craft is a boutique brand. I think they're based out of Texas, and they put together some really nice cigars. They have a new one out called, I think it's the Baca. I don't know. I'm probably butchering it.
I think I've seen that.
And they're kind of hard to come by.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing a lot of pictures on my social.
I might have
people
seen
finding
that
them.
up in Milwaukee when I was up there at Ewell's.
Kind of doubt.
You doubt it?
I doubt it.
I'm thinking I saw it up there.
It just came out not too long ago, so I'm thinking.
Well, that was only a month ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking timing wise, it's probably a little off, but
I don't know. I've seen it somewhere.
But it's. I'm curious. I want to try that one now too. But But no, I like this cigar a lot, and
Yep, this is-
highly recommend. Not just the Neanderthal. I recommend the whole line of the RoMa Craft, but I
He
really
celebrates their whole catalog.
it's like Michael Bolton. No, I do like the Neanderthal.
This is a good stick, and it's one I'll seek out. I'm unless something goes really sideways with this thing before I'm done with it, and I'm a third of the way in. This is my number 5 I've been searching for.
I will say, folks, it is kind of a strong, possibly heavy cigar. I would not recommend it on an empty stomach. I'm glad I had the smidge of burnt ends and baked beans that I did.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony, because I probably would be feeling a little
Tony saved our butts
little
tonight.
ill right now if I hadn't. But yeah, so that's the nice thing.
Very
So,
good. By the way, I know Nick normally would do the mailbag, so to speak, but I actually have a mailbag of sorts. You ready for this, Nick?
This can't be good.
Oh, no. You're going to like this.
Okay.
And that's why I purposely have not told you.
You don't have your phone out, so you've got this committed to memory.
I do.
Okay.
So, Kristen, my ex,
Oh,
who
God.
I'm still friends with, we've
Yes.
talked about it repeatedly.
We haven't gone into all the details of all that.
No one will understand. We don't even, so we'll just let it go. But that being said,
Some funny stuff.
that being
Oh,
said,
wait.
what?
This mailbag is brought to you by Dirt Dash, when it absolutely 100% has to get to you so fast because she will love me. Call Dirt Dash.
You're going to hell. Anyway, so back the truck up. Kristen's cousin, Barrett Schwartz. Barrett Schwartz lives down in, I believe it's Memphis.
Okay.
Okay, Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay. I mean,
And-
I'm assuming you mean Memphis, Tennessee. It's kind of the big Memphis.
Well, there might be a Memphis, North Dakota. I don't know.
I'm sure there's many Memphises, but I'm assuming when you say Memphis, you mean Tennessee.
So, Nick, do you remember when Andy Kaufman used to go to Memphis, Tennessee and wrestle?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days. Anyway.
Okay.
So,
I don't know what that had to do with anything, but okay.
Because I said Memphis, Tennessee.
All right.
Anyway.
So anyway.
So, apparently, we are very big in Memphis, Tennessee.
What?
Yes, and this is what I thought you would love to hear. So when Barrett was home, actually went to Kristen's sister's son's first birthday party, and I got to talk to Barrett there, and hadn't seen him in a long time. And I really like Barrett; he's always been a good kid, and he is working down in Memphis. And told him all about the podcast, and he loves cigars. I told him he had to come have a stick with us when he's back home because he is originally from O'Fallon, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So Barrett has been listening to the podcast and has complimented it greatly. I found out today through his mother, through Kristen.
Okay.
So Aunt Sue told Kristen, Kristen told me, so it's fourth hand. But that being said, he was out talking.
You're really liking that being said tonight again.
This
Is 2 episodes in a row. You're just, man, you're on time. I have got to get the bingo.
I got people paying me to do it for the bingo cards.
I have got to get the bingo T-shirt going.
Cigar Pulpit Bingo.
The Cigar Pulpit Bingo T-shirt. I have got to get
Delightful, that being said.
that made. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've got to get that made.
So, he was out somewhere.
Every time Gator smacks his lips, we could put that on the shirt.
Hold on. Let me have a drink of a nice cool beverage. The tea, by the way, the Hill
That is
provides tea.
I would say that is one of the benefits of the Hill Cigar Company, is they do provide tea
and coffee.
in their lounge, complimentary.
Complimentary. So, Barrett is out somewhere and runs into a friend of his, and they start talking. And I don't know the friend's name, and I apologize, friend. Insert your name here. And Barrett is talking to his friend, and his friend starts going off about this podcast that he has been listening to and absolutely loves.
Really?
And that they start talking about it, and he's like, well, hey, I'd like to listen to that. What is it? And the guy says, the Cigar Pulpit.
No shit.
And Barrett loses it and says, let me tell you about the Cigar Pulpit. So he explained the whole way that he knew Gator. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So apparently word is spreading far and wide. And I thought you would really appreciate that.
Actually, really pretty cool.
I know. It's kind of humbling.
It is. Well, I mean, when you put something out in the world, you
Well-
put it out there and you hope people find it. But
And let's be honest.
It's kinda neat that people talk about
I
it.
seeded the cloud a little bit with Barrett because I told him about the cast.
yeah,
Nobody told his friend.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it is getting out and people are hearing it. And, as referenced by the numbers we have on our episodes. Mm-hmm. We've had a couple of them just blow up.
Yeah, the humidor one with Squirrel has definitely
Yeah.
just gone far and wide. That one continues to just move and move.
I think the one we put out with the Cigars for Warriors has really
that
kind
one's
of taken
done
off.
really well in a short period of time.
It's funny, the Friday episodes tend to have a slow burn, where the Tuesday episodes seem to blow up quicker.
Well, I attribute that to just drive time. People, they listen to us during drive time and everything. So when you put it out on Friday, some folks maybe don't go to work on Friday. Some folks maybe whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, some people telecommute on the book.
But I notice the Friday episodes do pick up downloads again on Monday and Tuesday, and kind of go that way. So that's pretty cool.
So yeah, a shout out to Barrett Schwartz there for preaching the good word for us.
That's pretty cool.
Love it.
I want to also throw a little shout out for a second. I had a message come through on my Instagram that I had a new follower, and I immediately messaged him and thanked him for following me, said how much of a fan I was of his work, and he expressed that he would listen to our podcast over the weekend. So
he is just going to brutalize us.
Barry Stein of the Cigar Authority.
Barry, we love you, buddy.
We do. And I have to admit, to some degree, I'm geeking out because I really like the Cigar Authority, and so I'm really nervous about finding out what they think of our ignorance.
It tends to be a little more straight-laced than ours and a little more informative than ours.
Well,
Yeah, but I mean, everybody's got their niche.
That's what it is.
I love listening to it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've got a good rapport amongst the three guys and everything. And
Absolutely.
And they're getting ready to celebrate their 500th show, I think, in like a week.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
And then
yeah, we're like 20-something in.
And then 501 actually breaks the record of continuously running cigar-related podcasts. So that's awesome. That's pretty awesome.
It's a high bar they set.
Yeah, I know. We're sitting at 21. This one is 21.
You know, one of my favorite
Despite
episodes.
what iTunes says in the little number, for some reason it jumped us to number 3 with our premiere episode. I don't know what happened there, and I don't know how to fix it. So technically, when you download whatever episode and it says, number whatever, it's really actually 2 less than that. So
very strange.
I know. Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go.
We've got guests here.
It's our man Tony.
Tony,
what's up, brother? Right. Here, you want to say hi real quick?
Yeah.
We were literally just thanking you for the food.
So we got Tony here, putting on the headset. Say hi, Tony.
How's everybody doing?
Tony.
Hey.
So thank you very much for the food.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Greatly appreciated.
Can I say where it came from?
Definitely.
It came from Adam's Smokehouse here in St. Louis.
Okay.
South St. Louis on Watson Road.
Perfect. Now, Tony, you work for the St. Louis Police Department, correct?
I do.
Yeah. So you
I'm at the airport.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. See, that's the beauty of the Hill is we encounter people from all sorts of different walks of life and professions and everything else. I mean, we were in here one time and the judge was in here and somebody was joking about their marriage, and I remember him making the joke of, just bring her up. We'll get the divorce done right here and now. So, I mean, it's fantastic. So.
Right. All right. Well, good to see you guys again.
Thanks a lot, Tony.
All right.
So,
and Nick, we have another guest here with us. So hold on just a second, and I'll hand the headphones on over.
What's going on, man?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. So, what are you enjoying in the humidor today?
I don't know. Everything. I just go to Larry and I ask him what I should try today, and he gives me a suggestion, and I go with that.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They have a fantastic staff here at the Hill.
They do. I'm new to St. Louis. I've been here since December.
Now you're looking for a place, right?
Yeah, this place is awesome. I
don't mean the lounge. You're looking for a place to live, right?
I am. I'm in Central West End right now, but I just found a place. I think. What's the neighborhood? I don't know. It's off of University U City somewhere.
Ah, okay.
So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I think I might have found a place. Patrick.
Oh yeah.
Patrick.
Sorry, I know Patrick. I
know. Yeah.
No,
but this place is awesome. I mean, this very welcoming. This is the first place I went to when I moved here, and been made to feel very at home.
Yeah. No, they embrace you from the start.
They do, absolutely.
Even when you're weird.
Absolutely. And
just ask Tron.
We have solved many world problems here.
It's true. Unfortunately,
we
the results have not gotten out to the people that can do it.
Apparently,
you're
right.
But we have. So.
But no, this has been great. I appreciate you guys.
No, this is great, and we appreciate the Hill letting us hunker down in here to record over the wintertime because our decks get really, really cold without it.
That heater is huge, right?
It's huge, and I will admit I'm probably going to have a sunburn on the left
probably
side
will.
of my face.
You probably will.
when I
It's
leave.
better than being cold, though, right?
It is. It's definitely better than being cold. So,
Awesome.
well, cool.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you
guys.
again, Tony.
Have a good night.
Yep. You guys have a good one. We are here kind of at closing time for the hill, so everyone's kind of trickling out. So
thank you.
have a good one, guys.
Well, and that's the beauty of the hill. It's like family.
Well, exactly. You don't. Everybody's cool. Everybody's. People know about each other. When you walk in, and if you had something going on in your life, they'll ask you about it.
They genuinely care about you.
They do.
That's part of the cigar culture. It brings different people together.
Tony and Patrick actually both came out with me the night that.
You mean came out?
Stop it. Came out with me the night.
I'm like, hey, to each their own.
That we went out for Jessica's birthday up here with Corey.
Oh, that's right.
When I did the shots.
I know we're doing a lot of inside baseball, folks, but if you come to the Hill Cigar Company, you're going to meet all these fine people.
I'll tell you, but here's the thing. Here's the beauty of the Hill and all the other cigar lounges. There's archetypes. You have the same folks, theoretically, at every lounge. They may not be named Patrick, and they may not be named Tony, but you have a Patrick, you have a Tony, you have a Tron, you have all these guys at your lounges.
Well, and like we gave the shout out to Tanner, James, and Corwin that are in the PA program over at SLU. You get new people that come in, and you just kind of welcome him in his family, and that's the thing I like about this place.
Yep.
Now I've been to some cigar lounges.
We won't name.
We're not going to name, but I didn't feel welcomed as much. I could sit down, I could have a cigar, but it was kind of like, okay, get in, get out.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, who's the new guy? Yeah.
That's one thing I didn't run into here at the Hill because everybody here makes you feel like family.
I'll tell you, the first time I came here, Danny was working, and she gave me the tour of the humidor, kind of showed me around a little bit, and when I was done checking out, I had every intention of leaving because I didn't know these guys. I didn't know the lounge. I was by myself.
Yep.
And I didn't, and, I was, not nervous, but you know how it is when you go someplace completely by yourself. It's like you don't know anybody, and you don't want to sit there just quiet the whole time. And so I'm getting ready to.
I've never seen you sit at the Hill Cigar Company quietly.
I got my cigars purchased, and I'm ready to go out the door. And Danny says, "So which one are you smoking here?" So now at this point, I'm like, "Well, what do I do?" So I pick a cigar, and she cuts it. She goes, "All right, go back in the back and pick a seat." And at this point, Jeff, you know Danny.
I love Danny. And
you don't
by the way,
screw with Danny.
No, you listen to Danny and you do what she says.
Listen to Danny.
But yeah, Danny has actually been phenomenal to me.
So she tells me, "All right, go take a seat."
Usually here on Sundays.
Yeah. So she tells me, "Go take a seat." So I go in the back, and there's a handful of guys back there, and I grab a seat kind of on the edge. I don't know anybody. And they're all like, "Hey, what's going on?" Saying hi and everything. And by the time I was done with that cigar, I was talking in the crowd and part of the conversation. And
oh my God, there are hieroglyphs on here.
Told you.
This is awesome.
He's
on the inside, the inner band.
It's on the inner band, exactly.
Oh, there was an inner. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're high.
There's cave paintings on the band.
I had no idea. This is awesome.
Now, the one thing about RoMa Craft cigars, their bands are notoriously difficult to get off.
This thing's a bitch.
Yes. And I think, the founders of the company actually really enjoy the fact that it is so difficult to get off because they revel in it, and they actually tell people, just slip it off the lid end.
I've seen you do that before. I'm not that adventurous.
It's difficult.
Yes. I have actually seen you do that and wondered how. Because if I did that, I would be running around on fire.
Make sure you ash first.
Amen to that.
Last thing in the world you want to do is drag that band across a giant
Yeah, that thing was a
end of
bitch to
ash.
get off. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But it is really
But it's
cool.
a really neat
It was like
band.
an enigma wrapped in a riddle.
There's a lot of little details in the RoMa Craft cigars.
Well,
they look very simple, but when you actually drill down, they're very, very complex.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm all in on this cigar. This is good.
Good. Well, see, I nailed a good one.
You did.
Good.
So,
good.
okay, we got to do our top 5 then soon. Do you have your top 5 put together?
I can figure one out.
Okay. Well, I don't want you just to make it up.
I'm not making it up.
Put some thought into it for once, Nick.
I put a lot of thought into all this, you jerk. Yeah, no. But like I was saying before, when you smoke the Neanderthal, make sure you have something on your stomach. Which brings me to one thing I did want to point out. So earlier tonight, when I was sitting up here waiting for Jeff
I had to work today.
When I was waiting for Jeff to get here, he calls me up to bitch about how the fine folks at Wendy's screwed up his baked potato.
I said no chives, and I wanted sour cream.
But they gave you chives and no sour cream.
Yes. I had to go back.
Back through the drive-through.
Yeah, I bought it inside, and they messed it up, so I went back through the drive. I wasn't going back in.
This, folks, is where we get to the point of this story. Jeff ate a baked potato while driving.
Okay.
That's not typically the kind of food you eat while driving.
Back the truck up. I was craving this baked potato.
I get that.
And I fully intended.
But you couldn't have stopped for 5 minutes just to eat the baked potato without driving? You had to drive with the baked potato?
I did, because after talking to you, I realized how asinine it actually was.
Yeah.
And I pulled over.
That's good.
And
it
I
was really
scarfed
stupid.
down my baked potato.
Hey, what's going on? We're recording. Yeah.
Here, you want to jump on and say hi?
Ah, come on.
Come on, you can? Sure. Yeah. So, hold on just a second. We have another friend that's joined us here at the Hill. That's the Beauty of the Hill Cigar Company.
Beauty of the Hill. So we're joined by Tim, the owner of the Hill Cigar Company. Trying to slip on the headset over his hat, but didn't work. So, Tim, thank you very much for housing us over the winter.
Oh, no worries.
This is great because his deck gets really cold. And mine's even worse. So
I was sitting outside tonight smoking a cigar with some friends. It's like, oh, this is too cold. I'm coming over here.
So I'm going to get a sunburn on the left side of my face, but, that's all right. I'll just jump over there next time and make him get it. So,
yeah.
But
you can't turn that down, so you don't have to bake yourself.
It's all on me then. But no, cool. we've been chatting up the place, and we talked with Tony and Patrick a little bit and everything else. So
good
this is
good people.
This is a great place, and we're really happy that we're able to utilize it and promote you guys over the wintertime and going forward.
We appreciate that very much, and you guys are always welcome. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right.
Just stopping in for a minute?
Yeah, I just stopped by to see how everybody's doing on my way home. So.
Gotcha.
Take care, man.
Yeah, you too. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, we need to get him to come in and actually do an episode about how he started the store here.
I think that would be a great idea.
I think it would be. So we'll make that happen.
We'll make that happen.
We got the thumbs up. We're good. That's gonna become a thing. So awesome.
All right. Thanks, Tim. You too.
So yeah, he's great.
It is great. And you know what I'm really liking about this setup? We're getting flow. We're getting guests. Just people just randomly popping in saying hi.
What's the cigar pulpit? Why wouldn't they?
But I love it. I love the interaction. I love the.
You're like a kid in a candy store.
I'm really liking the randomness of
like an old guy like us in a cigar store.
Who's going to walk in? Well, for example, earlier today, I think she left already.
Jess
Hubbard. No. Hubbard Cigars.
Oh,
you missed it. So Hubbard Cigars is owned by Rodney Hubbard and his sister. And she was up here earlier today hanging out and talking about how they have rebranded their cigar, The Entertainer, which they've partnered with Cedric the Entertainer and have been putting out and promoting and everything. And so they've got new bands, new boxes, new artwork and everything to go along with it. And so she was kind of talking up that cigar a little bit. And there's somebody that I do want to get on the show at some point.
Being somewhat the producer on the show in some aspects, that's an interview we need to get set up as well.
I agree.
I would love to have Cedric sitting here talking to us. That would be phenomenal.
Don't know if that's going to happen.
Why not? He's in St. Louis.
Is he?
He's from St. Louis, brother.
I don't know if he may be from, but I don't know if he's in.
Well, he'll be back for Christmas. We'll grab him.
Okay.
We'll make this happen, Captain.
We'll see how that goes.
Hey, even if he's on the phone. You know who else I'd like to get?
Who's that?
Nelly.
I mean, St. Louis, I don't, whatever.
I bet Nelly'd come in and have a stick with us.
Trying to get my band off here.
It's like monkeys and footballs over there, folks.
This is not an easy band to get off, and anybody that's had a RoMa Craft will be able to attest to that. You can get that first band off, that in this case the orange one. It's that white one.
Yeah, the white one's the one I had trouble with.
Secondary band that is definitely the one that is problematic, and I don't know if they use super glue or what, but.
Hermetically sealed.
It is difficult to get off. I'll say that.
At best.
And it doesn't help that I recently cut my nails.
Well, you want to be nice and groomed.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't want to. I'm just ripping this apart. There we go.
Perfect.
So
there you go. Well, Nick, I love the cigar. It was a great choice.
I'm really glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So what are we doing next time?
Boy, that's a good question.
Do you want to make it a surprise?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and not commit to a cigar for next time.
Sorry, folks.
Well, I only say that because this episode is going to come out on Tuesday, November the 5th. And I'm expecting a package in the mail on Monday. And I've messaged someone who I would love to be our guest when we smoke that cigar.
Is it Roman wipes or Four Hymns?
No, what?
What kind of package are you getting?
A cigar, you dick. Anyway, but I don't know if I can coordinate that interview in time, so that may...
I thought we were going all caller daddy for a minute there.
No, but I'll say if we can coordinate that interview, then that is what will be in the November, what would that be, 9th, 5th, 6th, 7th?
Hold on.
8th.
Hold on.
8th. Be the November 8th episode. But I don't know if I can coordinate that in that much time. So
Perfect. Well, yeah, we'll make it. We'll
see. If that one comes through, you guys it'll be a treat. And if not, then I'm sure we'll have something else that's really, really good because I have gotten a few other care packages in the mail. My mail has been blowing up.
We still have our cigars from the Kansas City Cigar Festival.
We do. We have
an abundance of sticks right now.
We are stockpiling for nuclear winter, I think.
Yes.
So,
or
when the government finally takes them all away from us.
Exactly.
So, we'll have that
I
going.
can pry it from my cold dead hands.
Exactly. But no, we have a nice selection of cigars to choose from, and I think we'll be able to find something good for the next episode. So
good deal.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, how do folks get a hold of us?
So we are on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit. We are on Facebook and Twitter. We are on YouTube at Cigar Pulpit. And if you want to email me, it's just nick@cigarpulpit.com.
Loved it.
Otherwise,
your interview was great. All the guys coming in, and especially Tim with The Hill, the owner of The Hill
that was
Cigar
a surprise
Company.
because I didn't expect him to pop in tonight.
Nope.
So.
And like we mentioned, we had the whole crew was here off and on today. Jess was here for a while. I missed her when you got in. And then, it's a family here, and that's what I like.
Larry and Jody working tonight. Good folks.
Good people.
So
I love those guys.
I know.
We need to get Jody on, by the way, to come on and do a pipe episode.
Jody is an expert on pipes and pipe tobacco. So, yes, at some point we do need to sit down with Jody and talk about pipes because that is something that neither one of us know jack about. So
True that. I have a pipe, but I know nothing about it. I don't know what I'm doing.
See? And I don't know anything, and I don't own anything related to it.
It'll be a special episode of the pipe pulpit.
Yeah. And we've got other guests that have come on previously that want to come back on. So, you might see some familiar faces pop up again here
I'm
soon.
curious. Who would that be?
I don't know. I'm a little curious myself, but but anyway, so we'll we have a few. We have some guests lined up. We're trying to get some stuff lined up for the wintertime since
I have a non-cigar guest lined up, yes.
Oh, that's true. You do.
I do.
That one will be fun.
Yep, that one will be fun.
Should
I give the name or hold off?
No, hold off.
Yeah,
that'll be a fun one.
This is a good friend of mine. I think I probably consider him a better friend than he considers me. I think the world of this guy and love him to death.
It's somebody that you guys maybe initially when you hear the name, you're probably not going to know who it is, but I think if you just do a little bit of Googling, you'll find out it's a really cool guest.
Yeah, he really is. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. We're going to get him to sit down and have a stick with us too.
Good. Yeah, no, we're trying to line up everything so that we can be a little bit more organized since we're having to commute over to the hill to record.
It's not as loosey-goosey now.
Not quite. I mean, the show still will be.
Yes.
But the organization maybe not. So
nobody wants to see how this sausage is made.
I don't want to have anything to do with your sausage, Jeff. And on that note, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
I'm Gator.
That was Gator. And we are signing off from the Hill Cigar Company in St. Louis, Missouri. Have a good one and stay smoky.